time. I mean, so half time's done.
Bang it out.
Yeah.
Bang one out.
Oh. Yes, people, welcome back to Never a Foul. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video. This one's going to be a good one. I'm not even going to tell you the 4 players we're going to discuss, but I've already told you it's 4 players that could have a massive impact between now and January when that transfer window occurs. Are people under pressure? Could some people be sold? Let's discuss it. I'm here with Daps as always. Right-hand man. I like it. He's got the flat cap on. I'm not going to tell you the 4 players we're going to discuss, but we're just going to talk about them, which is quite good. Why you going?
Please don't tell me about your foreplay. Glazers stay in 10 more years.
Oh, I thought you were going to carry on. No, I was bigging to myself, but now let's get into it. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe to the video. So, obviously, international break at the moment, which I've not enjoyed, if I'm being honest with you. I can't wait for club football to come back. But I've been thinking about 4 players that maybe have been harshly criticised or players that could step up, all for different reasons. So, I think the first one we're going to go into is Jack Grealish. You've been a Manchester City fan. What I want to say on Jack Grealish, and and then you can go into it and take it away as well, is Jack Grealish for me obviously missed the Arsenal game. I think when we look back at that Arsenal game now, it was one of them games I think he should have started and could have started. However, he missed the first part of the season, had a bit of an injury or whatever he's been doing, he's just not been there. Let's call it that. He's not been there. But I feel like even with Rodri out, but just Manchester City in general, he's one of them players that you can see is very important. He's a system player, he's a pet player, and he grew so much last season that now he's back, people have got to realise that he's going to be back, he's going to be ready to prove a point, he's going to want to start games, and there's also competition for places, so he needs to impress with players like Doku and Foden, who can play off the left, now sniffing for a chance in that squad. So, Jack Grealish, how important do you think he can be between now and that January transfer window? Not that he's going anywhere, but that sort of important point up to Christmas.
So I think the most important thing is whether it be disciplinary issues, whether it be injury issues, whether it be a mixture of both. Same way I'd say with Man United that Ten Hag needs to get over this Sancho thing and get him back in there. Same with Grealish. Firstly, for England, whether it be a shot, whether it be an assist the other day, the important thing is when you're a winger, put it in the mixer.
Yep.
Right? Whether it gets a deflection, whether it goes in, whether one of your players gets something on it.
Mm-hmm.
Do not put the ball in that area. That goal does not happen.
Facts.
Right? So there's that side. Secondly, and more importantly, relevant to City. I wanted him to start against Arsenal. Look,
that could work in his favour now, though.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's kind of, and almost it might be. I do think because of maybe some things behind the scenes, Pep has been like, nope, no one in this team is a guaranteed starter.
Yep.
But now, usually it's okay. But now that's your warning. But now it's important we get him back in this team. Last season, actually, at the Emirates, he was one of our better players when he came on. He's won the treble with us. And most importantly, everyone says Manchester City are a system-based team. That's not an insult. We're a system-based team. Jack Grealish is pivotal to that system. Now, people that say, oh, but, check his GA and all of this and that. That's not his job in this Manchester City team, right? His job in this Manchester City team is to be an occupier. He's a magnet. He pulls 2 to 3 players out of position. That gives other players on the team 2 to 3 seconds extra to impact the game, right?
Yep.
That is what he does. Now, people say, oh, yeah, but, that isn't what he did at Villa. Okay, no problem. At Villa, they're not a machine that's winning trebles. We are, right? And he's pivotal to the system. And I just think we're not a team that are based on individual brilliance. We're not a team that have, all right, to a certain extent, you do have your De Bruynes.
Yep,
you do have your
can pull clutch moments. Yep.
That's fine. Your Gundogan's last year.
Yep.
But none of them get their moments without Jack Grealish giving them their moments, giving them extra 2-3 seconds on the ball, or when we're playing against a low block and we're struggling to break teams down.
Yeah. Do you see him now then? So with Grealish now, even though we've seen Doku get a good run of games, which he's had a good start to the season. Foden's obviously having a good start to the season. Alvarez as well. Do you feel like Grealish now will come back in, and do you think he will get them run of games under Pep where he puts him straight back in the starting 11? So this is me asking you about Pep. Do you think Pep says, right, Grealish, you're back in the starting 11 now, and this is where he starts building momentum?
Well, I think Pep knows Jack Grealish's importance in the team. Leroy Sané, I love Leroy Sané, right? Individual brilliance. But he used to get dragged a lot. He used to get subbed, sometimes didn't start games because he didn't get the system like Jack gets.
He took ages to adjust, actually.
And he works, but he didn't fully get his whole role. He's individual brilliance. Jack Grealish gets the role.
Yeah.
He gets the assignment, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we need. Now, within our own fan base, there is this whole kind of, Doku or Grealish, Doku or Grealish. We have never been that type of club. We're a squad.
Yep. Everyone will get their minutes.
We are having, if you look at the last probably, 4, 5, 6 seasons, we're probably averaging between 60 and 70 games a season.
Yeah.
That means it's a squad, and it's about who gets the assignment. Now, everyone's saying, is it Doku, is it Grealish? Well, actually, when Doku first arrived at City, he was playing on the right, which then means Grealish on the left. So I don't think it's Doku and Jack. There's different games, different assignments for different players. One can play on the left, one can play on the left and the right.
That's it.
The other thing is, of course, we do then have Alvarez as well. We do have Foden, and it's finding the right balance for the right game. So I think there's room for everyone. But for me, I want to see the first game back, Brighton at home. I want to see Grealish start. And then we can move on to maybe we play Doku on the right. Maybe we don't start Doku. We bring Doku on. Against Arsenal, I wanted to see Grealish on the left from the start and Doku be introduced, whether it be on the left or right, in about the 55th, 60th minute.
No, I think that's a fair point. I think with Jack Grealish already, we've seen that people forget. Obviously, he come through the Aston Villa ranks. He captained Aston Villa. He's been a leader for them. Brought them back. Brought them back. He's been a leader for them as well. And I think one thing for me with Jack Grealish, which I think is underrated, is that he loves big games and he knows how to play big games. I think even the way he wins fouls, even the way he uses his body, the way he ball carries, the way he can sort of hold the ball up in the corner flag, he's strong. I do feel like he gives you sort of a bit of a unique factor in terms of when I look at like Foden, Alvarez, Haaland, Doku's, something they don't have that Grealish does have. And I think that's what's been missed in the last few games. And I think when he comes back in, I think it is going to be a bit of a breath of fresh air, because I feel like just because he doesn't get the GA, people don't realise what he doesn't bring to this team. They don't really realise it. And I think now people will see it more when he's back in. But yeah, I think
one last thing on Grealish as well. One last other option on him. And I was saying it last season, I'll say it again. Yes, we've seen him predominantly on the left, operate on the left as part of a front three.
I think he can play as a central midfielder.
Well, I've been saying it for the longest, When Jack picks up the ball from deep, right,
and drives.
And also last season we even saw in certain games, I think Tottenham was one, I think maybe even the Arsenal game as well, there were moments where he was getting back and putting in challenges. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we do, and I'd like to see him in a more deeper central role.
I think it is a good option, especially with his ball carrying qualities. So Jack Grealish, I think he's going to have a good impact for Man City now between this period and the December, January, Christmas period. The next player we're going to talk on is Anthony. Obviously, I'm a Manchester United fan, and it's been an interesting part, for Manchester United in general, ownership, players, Sancho, Ronaldo, Maguire. It's been a whole bit of a car crash in terms of the bad side of things in the last 18 months. However, Anthony, that situation, I believe that's now put to the side. So we're going to talk about the football side of things. Anthony has not really been at the football club this season. And also in his first season, he was signed this sort of Ten Hag's marquee signing in terms of the right wing role. I've always said when Anthony came in, he didn't really get a lot of GA for Ajax as well, but he works hard. However, when you come to the Premier League, and I believe you want to be successful in the Premier League, when I look at the other wingers that have been, the Mo Salahs, the Heung-min Sons, the Rashfords, the Grealish, the list goes on. They've always had something in their game that they can excel at, whether it's, ball carrying, being part of a system, just being a goal scorer like Heung-min Son and Rashford, but they're not great footballers. You have something. And for me right now, I haven't seen what Anthony has given to Manchester United in the first 18 months he's been here that makes him be a standout performer. Now he's been in the Premier League, and I do give people a grace period. You need time to adjust. However, you do also know Ten Hag's system. Has Ten Hag played his full system? We don't know. Has he changed it a bit because the players around him aren't good enough? We don't know. But for me, this is a big period now where Anthony can come in and, try and hit the ground running for Manchester United, because we've not been that great this season. No one's really stood out, and our results haven't been great. So you can maybe come in, give us a bit of a lift. Bruno Fernandes has been playing on the right, who's actually not a right winger. Anthony, you're our proper right winger. Sancho, who we said could link up with Højlund, he's not there. There's no excuses for me now for Anthony to not come in and try and do something and, prove himself to Manchester United fans, the manager, and, even rival fans. What do you think on Anthony? I think it's a big period for him now.
Spinning, my head is spinning. That's what he offers you, bro.
Spinning around.
There we go. That's all he does. Do you know what? I'll be honest with Anthony. If I'm Ten Hag and I've got over the international break, I've got to think, right, what are we going to do now?
Yep.
Glazer's staying 10 more years. There's no changes going on there. I've got to work with what I've got. What have I got? I'm looking at the team. Me personally, I'm thinking, you know what? By the looks of things, Rashford on the left, probably going to be nailed down. Maybe a bit of rotation with Martial. Maybe Martial rotating with Højlund through the middle. But for me, from what I've seen from Højlund, he's the option through the middle.
He's the number 9.
So we look at the right. Bruno's not it. Stop forcing Bruno into a position that he's not good in.
Nope.
So then you have 2 options. You have Anthony and you have Sancho. Right?
Yep.
Can Anthony achieve what I want Anthony to achieve on the right? He's my boy. I've seen him at Ajax. Then I look at Sancho and I think, right, Sancho, Højlund, Sancho, Haaland. Which one's got a proven track record with the number 9, right? Now, if I'm being honest, I would, for other reasons, the situation with...
Yeah, you'd say, right, let's deal with that.
But that situation with Anthony, that maybe has passed on, maybe hasn't, and maybe might come back. That is still there, bro. It's not gone, okay? With Sancho, that situation can be dealt with here and now. Ten Hag has control of that situation. Reach out, pick up the phone, speak to him, sort out that situation. I'm sorry, bro. I'm not having Anthony. I'm having Sancho over Anthony all day long.
If we're looking at it now, then, if between now and January, you think, if I ask you a question then, if it's between Erik Ten Hag now choosing between Sancho and Anthony to play on the right wing to help or even Højlund get goals and find his confidence, you're picking Jadon Sancho to come back in the side and play over Anthony.
Well, I'm picking him firstly for a football point of view because it's proven with the number 9, and secondly, from a non-football side of things, it's a situation that Ten Hag can manage that. He can't manage Anthony's situation. That is not football related. That's not club related. He has no control over that, right?
Yeah.
For me, the Sancho one, he has total control. I actually was on his side initially, right? However, the way he's let that drag on as a manager,
it's gone
being a big man, this is
long.
on you now. Sancho's, 22?
Yeah.
You're a big man, Eric. Call him, sort it out, because the track record with him and a number 9 works.
This is where it's interesting, because I don't expect Sancho to come straight back in, and because, like you said, Anthony is his trusted man. He signed him also as a big money signing. I think that's a big thing when people don't realise, like, Sancho was 70 to 80 million. And Anthony was about 80 million. However, the difference is that Ten Hag signed Anthony, and I feel like when Ten Hag signs Anthony as his manager, he wants him to work, because I feel like, I'm not trying to pigeonhole him, but I feel like a lot of managers want their own signings to be successful. It's like Mason Mount. Mason Mount, yes, to his credit, has been putting in better performances, but he wants Mason Mount to work, and he wants him to play in that sort of central role. So he's shifted out Bruno out to the right because he's captain. He wants to put him into the team and find a way to make it work. We know that it hasn't worked with them in the middle. So this is where you got the dilemma, because then what are you going to do? Put Mason Mount and Bruno back in, but then bring Anthony, your trusted £80 million man, back in the team. And this is where Ten Hag has got to find it out. But I do feel like right now, Manchester United have missed the right winger because Bruno was just not cutting it out there. Play him centrally or bench him. Sancho is not there right now, but I would play him just like Daps said.
Why is he not there right now?
Because Ten Hag has not sorted out the situation, or whatever it is with Sancho. We don't know. And this is the thing. We can't say nothing because we fully don't know. But the situation for me, I agree with you, has gone on far too long. So Anthony now needs to come in and step up. Anthony, this is your moment to show Manchester United fans and Erik Ten Hag why we signed you and why we want to see you play. I don't want to have to see amazing goals every week, but I just want to see something that's making me think, do you know what? There is improvement. Spinning for longer than 2 seconds.
Spinning without
but you know what I mean? I just think this is the perfect opportunity now for him to say, that situation's half dealt with, there's no competition for me on the right. This is the perfect time for me to just come in and build momentum. And, he hasn't been selected for the international team. He's rested. He's rebooted. Let's go, Anthony. So let's see what happens between now and January. The next person, and actually, by the way, people, make sure you're smashing a like on this and subscribing, and let us know your thoughts as well, because obviously we discussed Jack Grealish at the moment and Anthony. The next one, I want to go with Martin Odegaard. Odegaard, this is going to be one that probably annoys Arsenal fans, but I feel like Odegaard does get his flowers. I feel like we all realise how good Odegaard is and can be. He went to Real Madrid as a youngster. It didn't work out. He's come to Arsenal, and people were wondering whether it was going to work out there. The last 18 months, he's really kicked on. He's become captain of the football club as well. However, for me, I said it before, and some people agree with me. Odegaard, when games get physical, when games get gritty, sometimes he can go missing. And I'm not talking about the game against us, which he scored. I'm talking about the wider picture. There was in a title race last year. He fell short. Arsenal were going for the title again. They're in the Champions League now. The difference between him, and I know De Bruyne's older, De Bruyne can do it in the big games, the clutch moments, can do that individual brilliance, like you said, when it's needed to happen. We don't know if Odegaard's going to do that yet because there's going to be bigger tests to come this season. However, for me, I want to see that from Odegaard now. I appreciate that he's a good player, Daps, and I think he is very good. I like the way he moves the ball. He's elegant. You know, he picks the right passes. But for me to become that top tier player, I want you to dominate the big games. I want you to win your team the big games. I want to see if he can do that and step up. Do you think he has it in him to do that? Or do you feel like it's still part of moulding him and it's not going to come yet? It might come in 2 or 3 years. We're expecting too much. Where do you sit with Odegaard?
So it's either Odegaard or Oh Dear God.
Oh,
For me, the De Bruyne comparison, firstly, yeah, that needs to stop, right? And the
I won't
reason
compare
why,
them. You know that word.
no, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
the
but you're
reason
saying in
why
general,
I'm
right?
saying it needs to stop, yeah, is because they're different players. Right? He is more like David Silva.
Yep.
Right? That's how he operates.
Yeah, yeah.
He operates in pockets.
Yep.
With
I agree with that
passes.
comparison, by the way.
They're completely different players. So look, I've seen him at times. I'm not saying he can't score goals. David Silva can score goals. David Silva for, I think, Spain is in their top 5 goal scorers of all time. But that's not what David Silva is about. De Bruyne, now, away from his assists, De Bruyne in big games is also a big game goal scorer, right? So they're not comparable. For me, Odegaard is that guy that is more elegant on the ball.
Yeah.
Right? He's picking out these beautiful passes.
He knits it together.
He's
the needle.
There's something that David Silva always used to do where he'd just give people options. He's always there going, oh, you got 2 men on you, give me the ball. You'll give him the ball, give you your back, but you've got space now to then advance.
So do you feel like...
I feel like, and you are right with the big games, like even against City, I'll be honest, Arsenal beat City.
Yeah.
He wasn't driving forward.
Yeah, he wasn't
at all. Like,
he wasn't.
The one thing I'd say is Bernardo actually did a good job in the 6th role, keeping Odegaard quite quiet, right? And understanding the pockets and stopping him from working in the pockets.
Yeah.
That's why it was such a tight game. But I do think as the captain, and also the fact that I think he's got other people there, like Rice now, who, you know, can take on that role.
Can allow him to
express
flourish
himself
now.
a bit more.
Yeah.
And look, if you are captain of a team that are in a title race, it's on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Right? It's on your shoulders. I can tell you, last season, look, Gundogan got all the praise. Yeah. Of course, he was stepping up in big moments, scoring big goals. The season before, scoring big goals for us against Villa last day of the season. Then you look at before that, when Fernandinho was our captain, he was getting the flowers. Before that, Vincent Kompany, he was getting the flowers. Because when you're in a title race, especially when it is could be your first Premier League for such a long time, it is on your shoulders.
Yeah. And it's more than what you do on the football pitch. Yes, Odegaard is like a David Silva where, you know, it's nice to look at him. He's got great touches. He moves with the ball well. But, you know, when you're tested, it's all about the mentality as well.
Yeah.
Can he push the other players? Can he impact those around you? There's a lot that comes with a captaincy. It's not just about 100%. You doing your thing on the pitch.
Now, I do
rate Odegaard. Don't get me wrong. I think he's very good. But it's just about, you know, how important he's going to be now between now and January.
I think he can be. He can be the difference. I don't think there's doubt on him as an actual footballer.
No.
But I just think this De Bruyne comparison, no. And by the way, for me to compare him to David Silva, I'm not saying he's as good as David Silva.
But the way they do play, I
me,
do agree with the way they play.
David Silva, I prefer David Silva's style of football to De Bruyne's style of football.
And they're both left-footed, Odegaard and Silva.
Are they?
Yeah, see, that's why I agree with the comparison a lot, actually.
He's very, very similar to him. And, yeah, I think he can be pivotal to Arsenal.
Yeah.
And, look, if they do win the league, he has to get the credit
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he is
he
their captain. But
100%.
it's now, I would also say finally that if they don't win the league this season, right, and with Declan Rice there, and Declan Rice was captain of West Ham, right? Declan Rice has gone to Arsenal to make an impact. If they don't win the league this season, could the captaincy switch hands?
That's a question we'll let Arsenal fans answer in the comments. But Martin Odegaard, me and Daps 100% do rate this player, but it's like, what can you do to take his game to the next level and for Arsenal Football Club? The last one we are going to quickly discuss is Luis Diaz. He's been getting a bit of flack from Arsenal, from Liverpool fans. You know, Luis Diaz had a horrific injury. Obviously, he had that bad injury. He came back. I don't think he scores enough for a winger that they would like, but when you've got Mo Salah on the other side, sometimes you don't need to. You've got Mo Salah, you've got Diogo Jota that can score goals, you've got Darwin Núñez, who I think is going to have a better season. I think Luis Diaz's role is, he works hard, he will create for others, he's a good dribbler. I don't think Liverpool fans need to get on his back yet. Just allow him to be him, and I feel like some fans can just be a bit impatient at times. But Luis Diaz.
So, all right, I've got quite a few examples on this one. Firstly, we've just spoke on Jack Grealish, right? Get Jack Grealish's role, understand what he does. Now, then I'll look at Jesus
Okay.
at Arsenal.
Yeah.
When Jesus went there and Arsenal fans were asking me about him.
I was going to say even Kulusevski for Spurs. Doesn't get loads of goals and assists.
With Jesus in particular, when he was joining Arsenal and Arsenal fans were asking me if he could get 20, 25 goals a season, I said, I don't know. What I can tell you is your team's output will go up by 20, 25 goals a season by having him, right?
Yeah.
By the space he creates for other people to occupy in. So if we look at Liverpool this season, and then we look at Liverpool last season without Luis Diaz, if we look at the season before when Luis Diaz first arrived, right? January, when I think Salah and Mane were away.
Yep.
He hit the ground running, and that was the season where they won for the quadruple, right? That was the season they were in the Champions League final. And to be fair, I remember watching the FA Cup final, and he looked tired. And at that point, I thought, from he's tired, they're going to drop off because he was so important for them, right? Then we look at last season without him. Liverpool dropped off. Now we look at Liverpool this season. I don't know Liverpool's average goals per game, but I know...
table-wise.
But if we look at... I don't know their average goals per game, but I can tell you they've won a lot of games 3-1, which means they're probably averaging about 2 to 3 goals a game, right? Does that matter? And Luis Diaz has been starting most games. Yeah.
And he doesn't score in a lot of them, but he's there.
They're winning games and they're getting a good goal average. Why? Because his job in that system is not to be the goal scorer. You've got Mo Salah, you've got Núñez, who is, whether he's scoring goals or not, he's stepping up and he will be, I believe, a goal scorer. You've got Gakpo and you've got other players in the midfield now.
Yeah.
That's not Diaz's role. I think Diaz, for me, is not even a case of... It's not like Anthony, where we're looking at can he, can't he?
Yeah.
I've seen Luis Diaz's impact at Liverpool. I know his importance at Liverpool. I think if Liverpool fans are questioning, I think they're mad.
No, I agree with that. I think you've summed it up perfectly, to be fair. I really rate Luis Diaz. I think his 1v1 dribbling ability is good. I think he is unselfish. I think he can create. He understands Klopp as well. And I think that he's good in terms of his mentality around the squad. He gets along with the players. You can tell that they thrive off him as well. I think he could have a good season this year. And I think, like we said with Liverpool already, they're not going to have a trouble, scoring goals. Gakpo, Diogo Jota, Núñez, Salah, and Diaz, like we just named. And I think Szoboszlai, they've got Gravenberch coming in now into the team. They've got people that can score goals in that team. And I think if you're a Liverpool fan, just appreciate that you've actually got a variety of attackers to choose from. Just if one has a bad game, it doesn't mean this one has to start. We're all human. We can't perform to the top of our game every single week. But yeah, for me, Luis Diaz, very solid player at Liverpool, and I think he will have a good season now he's back fully fit. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe to the video. Let us know your thoughts on that as well. We've discussed Jack Grealish from Manchester City, Anthony Manchester United, Luis Diaz Liverpool, and also Odegaard from Arsenal. And guys, we'll be back with more videos. Make sure you subscribe for the content, and we'll catch you on the other side. Thank you.